Hey, today I'm going to talk about my adaptation to the carnivore diet. And yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about poop. Why does every carnivore talk about poop, you guys? Well, I think it's because we're talking about our diet, and poop is the end stage of what happens with what we put in our bodies. So it is affected by what we're eating, obviously. I'm also going to tell you why I'm doing this with my hair wet. So when I started the carnivore diet, it was not an easy transition in some ways. In some ways, however, it was, because I started carnivore from keto. So my carbs on keto were already 20 carbs a day or less, and then I did go to Carnivore, so I had 10 carbs a day or less, and then pretty soon, before I knew it, I was down to pretty much 0 carbs a day on carnivore. And in some ways, that made it easy because I didn't have the keto flu. That's a victory, because I've heard it can be pretty terrible. So I'm sorry to all of you who had to go through that keto flu and get to the other side of it. Fortunately, I think because of the way I sort of stair-stepped down into that, I did not experience keto flu. What I did experience, however, which was pretty miserable, was 3 to 4 weeks of bouts of diarrhea. Now, I will say that, of course, I watched videos, Dr. Barry videos about this, and he would say on those videos, 5 or 6 days, 2 weeks, time frames like that. And here I was 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, and still experiencing it. And it made me a little bit nervous. I was starting to get nervous because, Dr. Barry would say if it goes on much longer than that, then you want to contact your physician. Well, right about the 4-week mark, that pretty much stopped happening. So if you take a little bit longer for your digestive system and your bacteria in your gut to adapt to the meat-only way of eating, I'll tell you, in my experience, it took me 3 to 4 weeks to fully transition over. And that's even from coming from a keto and then ketovore way of eating. So I can't even imagine what my body would have done had I just jumped in from the standard American diet. And I'm so glad that I did not try that. Now everything is normal in the poop department for me. I go maybe 2 or 3 times a week and they're relatively small. I don't have any issues. And fat is the lever that I can use to sort of navigate that. So if I feel like I haven't had enough fat, I may lean toward having, I wouldn't even say constipation. I just won't go. It doesn't feel like constipation because it's not uncomfortable. So in that direction, it's not probably very impactful to me. But I can tell right away if I've eaten too much fat. If I've eaten too much fat, I will need to make an immediate trip to the bathroom. Now, that's 1 trip to the bathroom. So during that initial 3 to 4 weeks, we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6 trips to the bathroom in a day. Like my gut bacteria, my microbiome was freaking out. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, guys. So, but now it's like, fine, I don't have any of that unless if I do eat too much fat, then I'll make 1 trip to the bathroom and then my body's over it. It just needs to rid itself of the excess that I didn't have enough bile to, to process. So yeah, that for me is 100% better. I feel like I've got that under control. Like I am now in control of that, and it's not in control of me like it was for that first 3 to 4 weeks. I also feel like kind of the more fat you eat, if you can slowly ramp that fat up, it will give your body enough time to produce more bile that maybe it hasn't been producing in the past when you were eating less fat on a daily basis. So that's my poop speech. I'm gonna get off that topic now. We all have to do it. We all have to do the poop speech. I don't know. Anyways, so my other thing is electrolytes. So electrolytes are still something that is tricky for me. I was not taking electrolytes on a regular basis at the beginning. I still have, and I do still use, the Keto Chow Daily Minerals, which do contain electrolytes. But y'all, that stuff is, woo, that's not even acquired taste. It does not taste good. Good medicine tastes bad, I think is what Dr. Berry says, or I'm sorry if I got that colloquialism incorrect, but he says something to that effect, right? That, yeah, it does not taste good. So I tried putting it in my water, and I could never even get maybe an eighth of a dose, because it would, yeah, I couldn't do it. I did find a secret though. So here's my secret if I'm using those to get in a little bit more of that. And that is I mix it into my bone broth. So I mix about, not a full dose, oh my gosh, maybe a fourth of a dose to a third of a dose into about a cup and a half of bone broth. And it does, I don't have that taste. I don't know what it is in there. Something, anyways, in the bone broth, it just tastes salty and it just tastes good. So if you need a tip on how to incorporate those, that's my tip of the day. Put your Keto Chow Daily Minerals into bone broth to avoid the taste of them. I also, just because I feel like I'm not getting enough with that, like I wish I could do more of that, but I'm not gonna drink more bone broth than that, and I really just can't do it in my water. So I do that when I can. I also supplement my electrolytes with Element. That's LMNT. Now, why am I doing that? Well, I was starting to get, after about a month in, a few weeks in, I was noticing I was getting this very specific headache. It wasn't like any headache I've ever had before. It was kind of in this spot in the middle of my brain, kind of radiating out. And I've had headaches, I've had migraines in the past. By the way, I don't have migraines anymore. More on that later. But I was getting this headache that didn't feel like one of my migraines or any other headache I've ever had. And when I looked into it, I realized that that could be a symptom of low electrolytes, and I really wasn't doing electrolytes on a regular basis. Also, occasionally at night, I would wake up or I would move my foot in a certain way and kind of get a Charlie horse. So those two things made me think maybe I need some electrolytes, and so I started implementing the Element. Now, I do have one pack of the unflavored that came in my sample pack. I have not tried that yet. What I do is I do still drink coffee, so, you know, I know that's kind of can be a line of differentiation between some of us carnivores. I may not drink it forever, but currently I'm drinking coffee. And I put about a third of a pack of the chocolate salt in that coffee. And that was pretty much what I needed to take care of those headaches. I haven't had a headache since. But I will say that if I do that too often, if I have 2 cups in a day with that chocolate salt, that old enemy of my ankles wanting to swell will come up. So if I take too many electrolytes, I notice that my feet and ankles will retain some water. So that's a balance in my body that I'm still working on. I'm still refining. I'm still getting down, you know, what my body needs, and I'm not always getting a clear signal like I do in some other ways for things on this diet when I need more electrolytes, other than the headache and the muscle cramps and then the swollen ankles. So like I'm trying to avoid those, right? I don't want the headache, I don't want the muscle cramping, and I don't want swollen ankles. So I'm working on finding the sweet spot for electrolytes, and I'll let you know if I find it. I'll let you know when I hit it, because that's just something I'm working on. Yeah, why is my hair wet? Here's why. I wanted to go ahead and talk about some hair loss that I've been experiencing. So 3 months ago is when I switched to the carnivore diet. And 3 months ago, my diet went from containing some carbs to containing no carbs. Now there was a slide or a transition. It wasn't in a day, but it was over the course of a few weeks. But I've never eaten an all meat diet before this. Never. Not once in my life have I done that. And also 3 months ago in June, both of my sons had a big transition, a big life transition, right? So I have a younger son. He promoted from 8th grade and was getting ready to start high school. And here's my co-star Pixel behind me. My older son was graduating from high school and getting ready to go to college. So that's all stress, right? Stress on your body. Good stress, to be sure. Those are excellent milestones for my kids. my diet was, you know, changed for the better for sure. That was a good change that I made. But there is a type of hair loss that can occur due to stress. And here's the tricky part about it. It occurs 3 months after the stress. So a few weeks ago, about 3 months after all that happened, I noticed that my hair, when I would wash it, especially, was starting to come out kind of in handfuls. And it's been doing that now for 2 or 3, I don't know, 3, I didn't look on my calendar, you guys, maybe 3 weeks it's been falling out. And I know though that there is this hair loss. It is reversible. It is nothing permanent. It is the body's reaction. So when your body is feeling stress, it says, okay, I got to put my resources into handling this. And so things on the periphery, like that are not mandatory for life, like growing hair, are less important. And so those hairs, the follicle just sort of goes dormant, but the hair doesn't fall out for 3 months. And so the name of it is called telogen effluvium, and I feel like that is what I'm experiencing. The reason why my hair is wet is because I just took a shower, and I wanted to illustrate that when my hair started falling out more frequently or more intensely, I stopped washing my hair so often. So I just wash it maybe once every 5 days. I would like to stretch it to a week if I can. I do tend to have oily skin and scalp. So, but yeah, I've been just not washing my hair so much, and I just wanted to illustrate that. I washed it today, which is Sunday, and I probably won't be washing it again until around Friday. So I will say that in the last couple of days, the hair loss has gradually begun to slow down. I'm looking forward to when it stops. And what I've done to proactively help so that when it starts to, you know, the new hair does start to grow back, because I know I'm eating the most healthy diet possible for me, what I've done to make sure that I can get some really good quality hair growth, and I'll keep you posted too as my hair starts to grow back in. Couple things I've done. So the first thing is my bone broth. I do make my own. Again, I am planning on filming a video on how I do that. The Instant Pot is your best friend. Makes it nice and fast. But I've been trying to drink my bone broth that I make from my ribeye bones or my chicken bones. I've been trying to drink that a couple times a week, like 1.5 cups of that a couple times a week, just to make sure that I get extra collagen and whatever calcium was in those bones. The other thing, just to be sure that I'm getting enough calcium, because I don't always have enough bones to keep that bone broth going. I know I need to go and buy some bones from the butcher. But just to make sure is I've gotten some eggshell powder. Now I know you can make your own eggshell powder instead of throwing your eggshells away, and I do buy the free range eggs, and so I know those shells would be perfectly healthy. But honestly, you guys, I just don't have the time. I'm already putting the time into the bone broth, and I don't know. I don't feel the need to make my own eggshell powder. Maybe I'll try it once. Right now, I'd rather just buy it. So I found an eggshell powder, and it's very, you can't detect it at all. It's very finely ground, but eggshells are almost all calcium. That's where the calcium is in that egg, and obviously we normally wouldn't eat that. So I feel like in the first few weeks of eating carnivore, like I wasn't doing bone broth and I wasn't doing eggshell powder, so I know that I probably wasn't getting enough calcium. So I've added those things in, and I will definitely keep you posted on this whole hair loss thing. But overall, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I know other people have all kinds of other symptoms. Those are the main 3 that I've experienced, and I hope that if you're experiencing them, this could kind of give you hope that you're not the only one. I know for me, I'm putting this out there in the hopes that, you know, and people are starting to comment, and it makes me just feel so good because, yeah, like I know I'm not alone. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I hope that it really can help you understand a little bit better about that these adaptation symptoms, they're not forever, but they're just symptoms as your body is getting used to this way of eating. And that when you come out the other side of that, you're gonna be better and stronger for it. So I'm going to go meet some wellness with a little extra egg powder sprinkled on my food, one day at a time.